I think if I could have gone back in time, I don't think I would have bought it. I bought a plant, somewhat of an aesthetic. I got a fake one because I was going to get a real one, and I thought if it dies, I don't know if I have the emotional capacity to handle something like that. So yep. And this is going to be my microphone for today. How? So a bit of story time for you. Early in my filmmaking career, 2014, 2015, I was like heavily inspired by a production company called Brain Farm. They made this movie you might be familiar with. It's called The Art of Flight, often regarded as the greatest snowboard movie of all time. It was mental. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It'll blow your mind. So in 2015, right as I was starting out my film career, they released two more movies, View from a Blue Moon, which is a surf movie, and We Are Blood, which is a skate movie, both regarded as the greatest surf and skate movie of all time. Bit of a trend, isn't it? And I could not believe it. So I started doing like research into like, what are these guys using? And they're using helicopters and shit. And I was like, fuck, not attainable. And then I saw they were using red cameras and I was like, not attainable. The style in those movies, I really tried to like steal as much of that stuff as I could and incorporate it into my own work. So I guess in a way I can attribute a lot of my successes to Brain Farm. A few years later, they closed down for tax fraud or tax evasion or something like that, but that's neither here nor there. So fast forward like 6 years and a whole bunch of videos later and some corporate jobs and whatnot, finally have the finances to start considering something like this. And then at the start of 2019, pulled the trigger. I thought, you know what, I'm bloody just gonna do it and see what happens. I've always tried to buy the best gear I can for the budgets I have and even like extend myself to try and get stuff that I can't afford. I don't know why I do this. I feel like I'm like a bit of a sucker for like the hype, but yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy gear. It's just something that I froth. Do I use everything to the best of its ability? Probably not. Have I skipped a lot of filming steps because I've got the thing above before I've learnt my other thing to the maximum of its ability? Yes. I love not having the excuse of a gear holding me back. I love to have like the full potential of myself and with no restrictions. So I think that way I justify buying a lot of stuff. This was no exception. Did I buy this too early? Potentially, yes. Did I buy this before I'd mastered lighting? Yes. Have I mastered lighting now? No. I mean, in a lot of ways, this like fully changed my style of videography, because prior to this, I was using a Sony A7S II, and it was a lot of like gimbal work, and it was almost very corporate-y. But as soon as I got this and realized I can't really put this on a gimbal as easily, I started getting into handheld and like kind of reconfiguring like energies that were appropriate for the kind of video I was making, and how like the shake of the handheld adds a lot of energy. Like where initially I just wrote that off as like unprofessional. Now I'm like, it's like artistic flavor almost. Like I love it. It's like my go-to now. I love handheld. And because it's so heavy, it takes away a lot of the micro jitters, and it kind of almost gives you like a professional shake, as if you had like a shoulder rig or something like that. But yeah, it's fully changed like how I used to make videos, as well as like the raw capabilities. In a way, it's also made me kind of worse, because raw you don't have to worry about white balance, you don't have to worry about like perfect exposures, because you can change your ISO and all that in post because you're shooting raw. Big downfall, the file sizes were crazy. Like now, one of my biggest expenses is storage, because the file sizes are just ridiculous. But I don't want to not shoot in RAW because that's the best I can shoot. The other big problem is the crop on frame rate variations. So whenever you want to change like a frame rate, if you want to go to anything above 96 frames a second from 5K, you're gonna have to crop into 4K to get to like 120. And if you want to get to like 240 frames a second, you have to crop into 2K. So your thing just keeps going boop, boop, boop. I'm not complaining. 2K 300 frames a second is still better than most. I also kind of bought it thinking like, if I get this camera, I'll get a whole bunch of jobs. And was that true? I'd love to say no, but kinda. It was a really good thing to throw in amongst quotes and stuff like that, like filmed on a 5K red digital cinema. And a lot of people kind of know what it is because of the reputation of them. I never used to sell a lot of footage, but now when you kind of advertise, it's like 5K, it's like TV quality, cinema quality, all that propaganda. It's not propaganda, but when you advertise that sort of stuff, people are a lot more receptive to actually purchasing it because it feels like something special. It's not just like shot on a regular Joe DSLR kind of thing. Like, this is like some cinema quality shit, you know? I think if I could have gone back in time, I don't think I would have bought it. I think now especially, like maybe a year ago before you had like your Z-cams and your Blackmagic 12Ks and your Pocket 6K cameras and your Komodos and stuff like that, I think the playing field has never been more level. I don't think this matters as much as it did a year ago. I think now with all the cameras coming out now, there's no excuse to be trash. I feel like that ceiling is it's just getting lifted every year. It's crazy. The A7S III, what the fuck? It's insanity. I'm probably going to try and get one and sell off all my other stuff so I can just get down to like this, that, and a Z-cam. I could have definitely navigated around getting one of these and saving $20,000 in the process. Yeah, so I think there's many ways around this camera, but I love Red RAW. I haven't come across a better RAW. It's not that I've tried them all, but this one's fantastic. I love it. I love the look of it. It's for some reason so aesthetically pleasing. I know people talk about the look and they can't explain it, but it has a look and it's beautiful, even with the same lenses and stuff like that on different cameras with Super 35 sensors. It just looks fantastic and I love it. A lot of people rip on the skin tones thinking they're not fantastic. I feel like if you light right and you color grade okay, then you're gonna be sweet. Yeah, man, would I recommend it? Now, probably not so much. Year ago, for sure. Just do your research, see what suits you. Don't jump the gun like I did. Or if you do, whatever, who cares? It's a great camera. I don't know. I like to think that the investments I've made over the years have been kind of wise in like, I've had like a 7200 2.8, which was one of the first lenses I ever bought. And that's still like one of my go-to lenses now. Like I like buying things that will last me a while instead of just like chopping and changing between trends. So I think this one will stick around for a while, especially now it's got 6K. That's psycho. That's a really good thing. Not that it really matters. I feel like resolution is like one of the most overrated things. Like Blackmagic just brought out a 10K for 10K cinema camera. Who needs 10K? The human eye can't comprehend past like 4 or 5K. It's like, why would you need that much more resolution? You look like ARRI cameras from like 5 years ago or something, and they're shooting in like 1080, and it's like, it still looks amazing. The films are timeless. They still look great. It's all about the dynamic range, really. And the look.
No, and I ain't looking to straight face you, race or chase you, track or trace you, or disgrace you, or displace you, or define you, or confine you. All I really wanna do is, baby, be friends with you. Block you up, shock or knock or lock you up, analyze you, categorize you, finalize you, advertise you. All I really wanna do is, baby, be friends with you.